can't just train once a day and study for 30 minutes and expect to become a D1 athlete. I know I thought like that for a long time. And the truth is, when I started pouring out everything I had into the game, it started feeding it back into me, and the same thing with off the court as well. And studying for tests, the more work I put in, the luckier I got. The more questions, the more 50-50s that went my way just because I put in more effort. So I would say my one piece of advice would be, if you're going to be built different, if you want to be built different, put in the work that makes you different.
Time out. Let me ask you this. What if the gap between where you are today and where you want to be isn't talent? It's how you're training when no one's watching. That's what this studio podcast is all about. We don't chase motivation. We don't hype potential. We build identity through habits, standards, and systems. This is where student athletes, parents, coaches, and leaders come to sharpen how they think, prepare, and perform. I'm Coach Randy, and this is the Built Different Studio Podcast. What's up, family? Coach Randy here. Welcome to the Built Different Studio Podcast, where we don't just talk about success, we train it. Mindset, systems, habits. This is where champions in school, sport, and life are built. So let's lock in and let's build. Family, today we got someone special in the studio. Not just a hooper, but a thinker, a student of the game, and a true example of what balance looks like when it's done the right way. David DaSilva is a current student at Cal Lutheran University, a former Notre Dame High School standout, and someone who played the game at a high level, earning the distinction as the nation's highest three-point shooter by percentage. He's also an assistant coach for SoCal Hoops Basketball Academy and youth coach at Motor Monstars. But here's what stands out the most about David. He didn't sacrifice academics for athletics. He elevated both high-level basketball, high-level academics, now majoring in data science and sports management. David represents what it looks like when preparation, discipline, and vision all align. So today, we're talking identity. We're talking habits. We're talking what it really means to be built different as a modern student athlete. Family, help me welcome David DaSilva. Welcome, David. Welcome.
Thank you. It was great.
So, David, before we talk numbers, percentages, or achievements, I want to start out with you. Not the stat line, not the resume. For everyone listening, tell us your story, your roots, your upbringing, and the moments early on that shaped the standard you live by today.
Yeah, well, I was born in Portugal, and I come from an immigrant family, so my dad was born there as well. And he moved here at a young age, and then I moved here at an even younger age, at the age of 3. And I think just having that immigrant household mentality of working very hard for everything and making sure, work comes first before play. I was never allowed to watch TV until I finished all my homework and stuff like that.
Yeah. All the way through, was that all the way through middle school and high school as well?
All the way through middle school, and then my parents kind of let me figure out the rest from there, but I kept the same kind of mentality because I had even less time because of more basketball practice and everything, so I just kept on.
Got it. Talk to me a little bit about your academics in terms of you went to Notre Dame High School and now you're at Cal Lutheran. Tell me a little bit about your academic upbringing and kind of how you went through Notre Dame and how you are at Cal Lutheran.
Yeah, I went to Notre Dame High School where my mom went, and it's a good college prep high school.
Yep.
Definitely very challenging and hard to get used to. But every semester through the first, I believe, 5 or 6 semesters, I improved my GPA because I was able to find a footing. So I started off at a 3.5, I think it was.
Okay.
And then I worked my way up to a 4.0 by my junior year. So
wow. So you're showing that progression every semester, starting from a 3.5, and you ended your senior year with a 4.0?
Yeah, I think I might have had a 3.9 one of the semesters and a 4.0 one of the semesters too. So,
okay. Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. How do you think Notre Dame prepared you for college?
It like the workload that they would give and just the expectations they had like set me up completely for college. I always will speak the highest about Notre Dame, about like the standard they set for me and for other students. Like I came into my intro classes at college and I was like, this is all they're making us do. And like other kids were like, I can't believe we have to do this much. And I was just kind of like, wow, I'm gonna have so much free time. I'm gonna finish my homework so fast. And then
Wow. Okay. Okay.
it was
Well,
nice.
how many hours were you studying during high school? Did you have like a system or process, or what was your study habits and your routines in high school?
Anytime I had like a quiz or something, I would study like a day or two before minimum, most likely
Okay.
like
So
2
you're not
days
waiting for the
before.
last minute. Okay.
No, never waiting for the last minute. And then for tests and stuff, I would try to study like 3 or 4 days before, and I would write out a study guide all on paper. I could never study that well online with like online writing and everything. I always needed to make flashcards or to write out full study guides.
Got it. Got it. Got it. All right. That's powerful. And what stands out already is intention. You didn't stumble into excellence, you built it. That leads me to the next question in terms of, I'll shift gears a little bit in terms of athletics and basketball. You became the nation's most efficient 3-point shooter, and that didn't happen by accident. That's not talent alone, that's discipline. Walk us through what your daily habits look like in basketball, and what did your shooting routine, your preparation, and your mental approach look like when nobody was watching?
Yeah, I think it started all around COVID. I was inspired by Kobe Bryant a lot, and then
Okay. Mamba
having
mentality, right?
a lot of Mamba mentality, getting to stay at home, listening to how he trained, it inspired me to like really up my game, and having coaches tell me that if I want to play at the next level, I need to be able to shoot. So I just decided that every day I was going to put up I was going to make a minimum of 150 shots, jump shots, whether it was mid-range or three-pointers, like anything outside the paint. So
Okay.
typically,
Okay. And that's
typically
makes, not takes.
that's makes. That's makes.
Okay.
That's makes.
Wow.
So I
Wow.
would start off with like probably about 25 to 50 warm-up form shots, depending on how I felt. A few
Okay.
layup, and then I'd have to make 5 free throws in a row before I could start the actual like shooting drill. And then most days if it was like a full day, which was like most of the time, I would do 25 to 30 mid-range makes in 5 spots, standstill.
Okay. So you're shooting all over the court, mid range, 3-point shots, and you're just getting a lot of reps in.
Yeah, and then I'd get these from the 5 spots. So ideally it'd be around like 250, and then I would end with at least 5 free throws made in a row, but I would aim for 10.
Wow. And then you led the nation in 3-point percentage. Explain that a little bit.
Yeah, so I mean, I was pretty surprised to find out, but I think it was through the month of like December, by that point in the season, like for the amount of shots that I took, I led in percentages. So I took a certain number of shots and I led given that minimum amount. So I led the
Wow.
nation.
Wow. Do you remember that percentage? Was it like a high 30s, high 40s? Do you remember that percentage?
At that point in the season, I was shooting like 80%, but I was also like close to like 9 for 12 or 9 for 11. I think it was like 9 for 11 at that point.
Okay. Yeah. And Notre Dame plays in a tough league, Mission League, probably considered one of the toughest leagues in California, if not the U.S. You're playing against Harvard Westlake, Sierra Canyon, Crespi, Chaminade, St. Francis, Alamany, all amazing and tough teams. So that's elite detail that you share there in terms of what you're describing as a system, not a shortcut. And which brings me to this. So a lot of student athletes struggle to balance the classroom and the court, but you didn't just survive it, you excelled. And what mindset, my question for you is, what mindset or structure allowed you to perform at a high level academically while still competing at a high level athletically? Because those are in varsity sports. You're spending 2 or 3 hours a day in practices, right?
Yeah, I think it's just making sure that I don't procrastinate too much in terms of, it's once you put something off, it becomes like something bigger in your mind than it really is. So if I like pull off a Spanish homework assignment, I may not want to do it right away, but then it comes to the night it's due, and then all of a sudden I'm like stressing about this Spanish assignment that really isn't a big deal, but it's
Okay.
things like that. So staying on top of assignments and then making time to study and do homework every day, not taking days off unless I was like completely no homework, no tests coming up.
Got it. Got it. And so it sounds like all the simple things or things that need to get done, you just forced yourself to do it rather than procrastinate.
Exactly.
Okay. No, that's good to know. And I think all the listeners out there, especially students, should be able to take advantage of that. Another question I have in terms of nobody builds alone. Who were the coaches, teachers, or mentors who poured into you along the way, and what lesson from them still guides you how you move today?
Yeah, I think a lot of different people have affected me in a lot of different ways.
Okay.
I think some of the main people, my parents,
Sure.
just watching them go to work. My dad would skip lunch most days just to make sure that he can get everything done, go above and beyond. Just seeing like a work ethic like that and knowing that like nothing comes easy in that kind of sense, like it's not given to you, you gotta earn it. So I think training with D1 athletes in that way too. I got to see firsthand like what it takes to become a D1 athlete, and it made me gain a lot of more respect for the work ethic they have and the kind of people they are, because it showed like a commitment to excellence on a day-to-day basis and things of that nature. And then I think you as well have played like a pretty big impact in my life as well, in terms of having me focus on areas where I can improve, not just as a basketball player, but off the court too, because one day you won't be dribbling and you'll just have to walk around and figure out.
I appreciate that, David. I appreciate that. So for those of you that don't know, I've coached David since he was probably 6 or 7 years old.
Yeah.
I still have some video of you where you used to shoot the ball behind your head like Jamal Wilkes, and it's not up top behind your head, it's way behind your head. And I still have the video where you're knocking them down and you're making the crowd go crazy because of your awkward shot at the time, but you've definitely fine-tuned it, and I'm proud of you. I'm so happy for you in terms of what you're doing at Cal Lutheran as well. So my final question for you, David, is, and you know what you shared with us, that's powerful, because legacy always leaves fingerprints. You know, you talked about your mom and dad and all the other coaches and mentors, which leads me to the standard now that really you carry forward, which is important. My last question is, you've seen high-level basketball, at Notre Dame and all the teams that you competed against. You've also seen high-level academics, especially at Notre Dame, now at Cal Lutheran, and now you're preparing for what's next. If you could give one standard, one mindset, or piece of advice to the next generation of student athletes who want to be built different, what would that advice be?
I would say if you want to be built different, you have to do things different. You can't just train once a day, study for 30 minutes, and expect to become a D1 athlete. I know I thought like that for a long time. And the truth is, when I started pouring out everything I had into the game, it started feeding it back into me. And the same thing with off the court as well. And studying for tests, the more work I put in, the luckier I got. The more questions, the more 50-50s that went my way just because I put in more effort. So I would say my one piece of advice would be, if you're going to be built different, if you want to be built different, put in the work that makes you different.
Okay. No, thanks for sharing that. That's powerful as well. And for those of you youngsters out there that are 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, Coach David is also a coach at Motor Monstars. Check it out. It's a unique program where they teach everything from agility, performance, strength, but also play all sports, not just focused on one. So they play basketball, soccer, volleyball, a lot of fun interactive sports, a bunch of tumbling. They have a bunch of trampolines and a lot of cool equipment. So check them out on Instagram, Motor Monstars. Check that out. It's in Simi Valley. Coach David is one of the coaches impacting the youth. So David, I appreciate you not just for your time, but for your clarity, your discipline, and your example. This is exactly what being built different looks like. Family, this was a real one. David didn't just talk about basketball today. He showed us what alignment looks like, preparation, consistency, intentional habits. He's proof that you don't have to choose between academics and athletics. You can dominate both when you commit to the process. So if you're a student athlete listening, talent gets attention, but habits create opportunity. If you're a parent, structure matters more than pressure. And if you're a coach or mentor, This is the reminder. We don't just develop players, we develop people, just like David. David, again, I appreciate you and I'm excited to see what's next for you. Family, if this episode gave you value, share it with a teammate, a parent, a coach who needs to hear it. I'm Coach Randy, and this is the Built Different Studio Podcast, where we break down the mindset, systems, and habits that create champions in school, sport, and life. Handled today with intention. That's how champions are built. We'll see you next time. Champions, go win the day. Fight on. Thanks, David. Chat soon.
Thank you.
Remember this, family. Talent might open the door, but your mindset, your habits, and your discipline decide how far you go. So keep showing up, keep building, and keep choosing the harder road, because that's the one that makes you built different. I'm Coach Randy, and this is the Built Different Studio Podcast.